Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episode review. This one's going to be for Season 3, Episode 23, The Forefold Trap. And yeah, this was a, decent episode. It was definitely better than most of the episodes this season. But it wasn't, like, brilliant. But I did appreciate that they at least attempted to address the main plot going on right now, that Karai was in the episode. We got April back for a bit. Splinter was a pretty big focus of the episode, so that's always good when this show does that, because they're basically the best characters in the show. It's not the turtles. It's not the other villains. I definitely put Shredder up there with them, but just a lot of the characters they tend to focus on aren't actually that interesting. Um, but yeah, this was you know it was kind of odd what they did with this episode, and that it was mainly focused on Karai, and then they attempted to have this kind of plot of, like, the turtles have bad teamwork in this episode, and they're kind of getting a bit angry at Donatello, but that it's there's no need for that. We know the turtles have good teamwork, and them having a little argument isn't going to have me questioning if they can ever work together as a team again. So I felt that was in general a kind of weak plot, and especially with the way they resolved it, with them all helping each other get out of the traps. It was just like, okay, it's a cool setup for an episode. They all kind of get put in separate traps, and it seems like individually they have no way to get out, but they do it in the end. But definitely the highlight of this episode was basically getting to see Splinter and Karai interact again. But even that, I thought, was kind of not that interesting, because Karai is controlled by brainworms at this point in time. It means that everything she says is meaningless. It doesn't have any meaning behind it, because it's purely the brainworms talking, programmed by Shredder, Baxter Stockman, and so on. We know, based on the last time Karai kind of had her, I suppose, full wits about her, she doesn't feel that way anymore, and she was basically going to join the good side. And so for her, I think with that arc, the whole Find Karai arc, they just have to nail this in the finale, which I assume is where they're eventually going to fully resolve this issue and not have her just kind of be off on her own and they just miss out from saving her. They have to resolve it really well. Splinter Shredder in a fight, she arrives on the scene or something like that and makes some sort of decision at the end, or something happens, because they're beginning to get to the point where they've really overdone this, where there's like basically the end of this episode. Splinter uses his healing hands technique to basically undo the brainworms, but in doing so kind of ends up kind of knocking her into this kind of underground sewer vortex thing that she gets sucked away in. And they kind of made it seem like Splinter thought like he killed her or he'd never see her again, but it really didn't come across like that at all, purely because I felt like this has happened like 4 or 5 times. Like, either Karai's just escaped or something's happened to her where they've just barely missed out on her, so it didn't really have the impact that I felt they were going for. But it was a big, I suppose, plot point that, okay, the brainworms are kind of done. She's just basically she's in this kind of mysterious part of the city, kind of away from everyone else, and she has to kind of now make her way back to everyone else. The thing is that we don't fully know what her mental state is like, because they've definitely set up that since she got mutated, even though I suppose before that she was basically on the good side, getting mutated and kind of being the kind of half snake kind of mutant thing, be able to transform, has affected her in that she isn't. They've kind of gone back and forth on this. They haven't fully explained it, but that she's kind of part animalistic. Though when she was controlled by the brainworm, she seemed very much like the villain she was like early last season when she was introduced. So maybe it's just about her learning to control her mutant powers, and she can control the forms. Like, maybe she has more powers and abilities when she's in snake form, but she's more humanistic when she's obviously in her human form. So, there's some stuff they could explain there, but I'm not really sure where exactly they're going with this, just because really going into the finale, that's the main plot. Like there's kind of okay, Splinter Shredder I assume will fight again, but the Turtles don't really have anything going into the finale. I know there's still one episode to go before the finale, but that doesn't seem to like obviously set up where the series is going from here on out. But it could, you know. I've been surprised this season a few times. Um, but yeah, there are also hints in this episode that the Krang are coming back, and based on the finale description, it seems like the Krang are coming back. So I don't really like that. They couldn't even wait like a full half season after kind of getting rid of them temporarily to bring them back. I really don't see the need for that. I would actually really like to see what this show is like with the Krang just out of the picture for a good while, and it just be like this kind of really deep, meaningful conflict between Splinter and his guys, the Turtles, versus Shredder and his all his villains. But you know, they don't seem to be going down that road. They seem to just have this massive cast of characters and want to keep bringing them back. The Krang are like funny or whatever. They think they're great, but I don't know. It's the series is in a really weird spot right now in that they're heading into this finale, which is going to be plot focused. Basically, it's not that they're not going to do a really heavy humor focused episode like they like to for the finale. But there's very little I feel going into it. Like there's really light setup of the Krang coming back. There's, you know, obviously save Karai, but given the way this episode ends, she's kind of off on her own. Will they just be searching for her and something happens again? Like they're beginning to get a little bit repetitive, which is awful considering that this show hasn't done a lot of really good heavy plot stuff. But we'll see what the last three episodes of the season are like. It's just that right now I don't have a massive amount of confidence in this show. But as I said, this episode was a little bit better than the previous ones, but I still don't think it was perfect. As I said, I appreciate the focus on what I think is probably one of the best relationships in the show in terms of the development that it's had, and that being Splinter and Karai. And, you know, that it would be, I think their relationship would be a lot better if we didn't have all the kind of fillery episodes in between then. Because I'm kind of struggling to remember what those episodes were like, because this season has taken so long to air, and then season 2 there was a break between like season 2 and 3. So it's just, I think the show just needs to make a decision to be a bit more plot focused for a while and just go for it. I hope they continue season 3 into season 4 plot focused. Basically, don't do what they did going from 2 into 3. But that's basically the review. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on the episode, what your thoughts are as we head into the last couple of episodes of the season. Do you have much hope for it being really good, like the season 2 finale was, or what? Has the kind of this season really made you doubt that the show can be like consistent? But yeah, that's been the review. Thanks for watching, and bye.